Hello and welcome to this video on Actus, the appraisal system for the trust. So in this video I'm going to talk you through how to use Actus, all the functionality within it, what it can do, how to record your appraisals, your objectives, everything like that. So to log on to Actus, it's very straightforward. You find the Actus people management icon on your desktop. It's this nice purple icon. Double click into that and it should bring up the login page for Actus. Just wait a moment for it to load. Once it's loaded, this is the screen that you will see where it says user login. And to log in is very straightforward. It's the same username and password that you use to log on to the trust computers. So I'm just going to put my details into this screen. Right. Once you have logged in, what you will see is the dashboard. So this is essentially the home page of the Actus system, and as you can see, it's got all the different areas within Actus for you to use. So you've got where you're going to record your appraisals, your objectives, one-to-ones, development, so on and so forth. The first thing that I would recommend doing if you haven't been on Actus for a while, or it's the first time that you're using Actus, is just to double check, do a bit of sanity check in terms of who your manager is on the system, so they can be linked into your profile. So if you go up to the little person icon in the top right hand corner here and select this is your profile section, and to expand this section you will see you've got these little diagonal arrows, and anywhere on the system that you see that's the expand section. So if we click onto that, it brings up all your personal details. As you can see here, you've got your manager here, so this should hopefully be correct. If for whatever reason it is incorrect, you can change this yourself. It's very straightforward. You type the surname of that person into Actus, and it brings up everyone with that surname within the trust who's on the system. So we're going to select Nazia Fitzpatrick. You would then press save, and that would save onto your profile, and they would then be able to access your profile. You can see here you have also got the option of an alternative manager, and this is if you want someone else to have access to your profile. For example, if your manager manages a number of different team members, it's not appropriate that they're going to be undertaking everyone's appraisal within their team, so they might delegate that out to someone else. So you can add their name into here as well. So again, you just type their surname in, press save, and they will now be linked to your profile as well. Right, so if we go back to the home screen, press the little home icon in the top left hand corner here. This will take you back to your dashboard. As I said, these are all the different functionalities within Actus. What I'm going to show you now is maybe the most important part, which is how to add an appraisal onto the system. It's fairly straightforward, fairly intuitive. So you see where you've got appraisals here. If you go over to the little plus button, select add new, this will then bring up the appraisal details screen. So this is the details of your appraisal meeting. So I will just run through this with you so you know how to complete this section. So you have got your employee name, which will pre-populate with yourself here. You've then got the appraisal name, and if you select the drop-down menu, you have various different options of appraisal. The most appropriate one is going to be end of year appraisal, so select that. The appraisal period will then pre-populate with the correct appraisal period for this upcoming appraisal cycle, so you don't need to worry about that. The description and subject also pre-populates with whatever the appraisal period is. You are able to change this, to amend this to whatever you want if appropriate, or if you want to kind of personalize it, you're able to do that as well. Your appraiser will then appear as pre-populated with whoever your manager on the system is, but if you do have that alternative manager, you are able to select the drop down menu and you can select that alternative manager as well. The meeting time and date when your appraisal is going to take place, so if you click the calendar, you can select when that appraisal is going to take place, and also by clicking the little clock icon at the bottom here, you can select whatever time the appraisal is going to take place at. Duration as well, you can select between anything from 15 minutes to 2 hours. We normally say 45 minutes an hour is enough time to have that quality conversation, and then type in the venue as well. Once you have completed this appraisal details section, if you then go and select save, that will save this appraisal onto your profile for you. If we go back to the dashboard, you will now see that next to the appraisal there is a little 1 in brackets. If we expand this section, you will see that this is the appraisal that I've just added onto the system. It's got all the information, everything that you have added into there. Once you've saved it, some extra little boxes will appear here. So you've got your objectives, and what this will show is any objectives that you had from last year, so you're able to reflect upon those, and any development needs that you have as well. You're also able to open that up and reflect, just so they're all on one page. You don't have to continuously go from the appraisal screen to the objective screen, back to the appraisal screen. Everything is there for you to have a look at, review, and get your comments down. The bit that we are interested in is this section here, which is our end of year review. If we open this up, it will bring up the various different questions to kind of help prompt you with looking back over the previous 12 months, reflecting on your performance, what you've achieved. So you've got summarising your reflections and working towards your objectives, a little bit on each of the care values, how has your work helped to improve patient care experience, so on and so forth. So this section here, this is all for you as the individual, the person being appraised, to complete and get your comments, your reflections down, just so when it comes to that appraisal meeting, you are fully aware of what you want to discuss, what your achievements have been throughout the year, etc. So all of the boxes on the left hand side, these are for you as the person being appraised to get your comments down. The manager has a smaller little comment box on the right hand side at the bottom here, which says manager's comments, and when they log into their profile, they are able to type in, add their comments on you, give you a rating as well. And it's just so you're both on the same page when you come to have that conversation. You both know what you want to discuss. Once you have completed this end of year review section, if you go back to save and select save and invite, what that will do is Actus will generate an Outlook calendar appointment that will be sent both to you and your manager, so it is in both of your diaries, so the meeting can take place. As you type into each of these boxes and you go on to the next box, you will see that it automatically saves that comment. So there's no need to continuously keep pressing save. Every time you type something in, go to the next box, it saves it on there for you. So once you have completed this, your manager has gone through, looked at your comments, completed their comments, you will obviously have the appraisal conversation. If, for example, a lot of people I know don't have a laptop with them when conducting their appraisal, you are able to print this page off as a PDF, just so you've got all that information in front of you. You can make notes, scribble things down. If you do make notes or scribble things down on that piece of paper and you want to attach it to this appraisal screen so it doesn't get lost, doesn't end up in a drawer somewhere, you're able to do this via the comments and supporting attachments section. So if we expand this up, you can see that you're able to add these comments. It's the same as you would normally upload any sort of document. You would scan it in via the printer, type into the comment box what that attachment relates to, select the little paper clip, find where you saved it on your computer, select it, press save, and that attachment will then save onto this appraisal, and you can go back to it, see what attachments you have got on there. You can add as many attachments as possible. So another example might be if you've been on a training course, you've got a certificate, you've got some notes from that training course that might be relevant to your appraisal, you can add it onto here. Once you have had that appraisal discussion, it is very important that your appraisal gets signed off on Actus. Actus is the platform that we use to report when looking at who's had an appraisal, who hasn't had an appraisal. And as you can see, you've got the status section here. Throughout the process, it will always show as in progress. Once your appraisal is ready to be signed off, you're happy, your manager is happy, you'll see if you click the drop down menu, you've got an option of signed off. In this example, I am unable to sign my own appraisal off for obvious reasons, so it will have to be your manager that does that. They will have to log in, go into your profile, select signed off, press save, and that is the end of the appraisal process, and your name will appear as being signed off on our reports. If we go back to our dashboard, what I will now show you is how to add an objective onto the system. It is a fairly similar process to add in an appraisal, but we will just run through this as well. So if you see you've got objectives here, if you go across to the little plus button, that, similar to the appraisal screen, brings up the objectives detail screen. And this is what the details of your objective for the coming year are going to be. So you've got your objective title, so you would type into there whatever that objective title is. Then you will be able to select an objective category, and you can choose between one of our three key priority areas as a trust, so either quality and safety, financial stability, or people. Let's say this objective is going to relate to people. You've then got the target date, so this is when you want to have achieved that objective by. So you can select this, and let's say we want to achieve this objective by the end of the year. So we would go to December the 31st. Also on Actus, you've got the option to set a priority against each objective and also a percentage complete. The priority is just a nice visual thing to have, so when you're looking down the list of objectives that you've got on Actus, you can sort of see which ones are of higher priority. The percentage complete is also designed for you to use Actus throughout the year, and say you are roughly a third of the way through that objective, you can move the slider across to 30%. And so when you next log into Actus, you can roughly see where you are with achieving that objective. You've also got the define objective section here, so this is where we are going to use our SMART framework to kind of give the objective a little bit more meaning, a little bit more meat to the bone. How you're going to go about achieving that objective, you would put into this section here. Once you are happy with this as an objective, if you then go and select save, as with the appraisal, this objective will then save onto your dashboard. You'll be able to go in, have a look at it from there. As with appraisals as well, you've got 3 different options that come up after you saved it: milestones, comments and support attachments, that's the same as with appraisal, and completion comments. So let's say this objective that we've put in is a year-long objective. I want to break it down by quarters. I'm able to do that. So I would type into here whatever the description is. So for example, by the end of quarter 1, I want to have achieved this part of the objective, and you would put the review date in there of the end of quarter 1. You would then save that, and you can add in as many milestones as you wish. What Actus will do is a month before any milestone is due, it will send you a reminder email just to remind you that you have got this milestone, this objective on the system, almost just to remind you and ask you how are you getting on with it, just so no objectives fall through the cracks. Once you have set up your objective and you've added in any milestones that you wish, what you are then able to do is you can then save it as agreed with your manager. Once you save this as agreed, you will then no longer be able to add anything to the objective because it has been agreed. Your manager, however, will still be able to go in and amend it, because we know that sometimes goalposts in objectives change, things get taken away, things get added, so they are able to do that. Once you have successfully completed this objective, you are able to go to the completion comments at the bottom here and type in your reflections in terms of how it went, whether you achieved it or not, using the performance rating, what went well, what didn't go so well. Your manager can also do the same. You would then have a discussion around that with them, and once you have done that, your manager can then sign your objective off as completed on Actus. So that is the objectives section. I'm not going to go through all the different sections within Actus because the way you add things is very similar, it's pretty much the same. So if, for example, we wanted to add a meeting or a one-to-one, again, we would go across, press the little plus button, it brings up your one-to-one details section, you complete this, press save, it then allows you to add in any agenda items you want. You can then save an invite, it will send an Outlook invite to both you and your manager, so it's in the diary, and then away you go and have that discussion or that one-to-one meeting. So that is pretty much the functionality within Actus. I've shown you how to add certain things onto the system. What I am now going to talk you through is the recognition and inquire section within Actus. This is where you can gather feedback or send essentially electronic thank you cards to other members of staff. You'll see you have recognition and inquire at the bottom here. If you want to add a new recognition, so someone has done a really good job, you want to recognise that, select the little plus button and it will bring up this recognition template screen. You can then type into the to box whoever you want to send that recognition to, and you can choose between one of our 4 care values. So let's say someone collaborated really well with you on a project, you would select collaborate. It then brings up this text, which is dear first name, thank you for demonstrating skills aligned with our collaborate value. You can also free type, free text into there as well, whatever your message is. Once you're happy with that, and that's the recognition that you want to send, if you then select send, it will send an email to that person saying that you have given them this recognition, and the next time that they log into Actus, if they go down to the recognition section, open this up, you can see all the different recognitions that you have received on there. In terms of inquiry, you can also gather feedback on your performance. If you go across to the second plus button and add new Inquire, this, similar to the recognition, will bring up a request feedback screen. So again, you would type into whoever you want to ask for feedback from into here, and say you led on a study day or did a presentation, you wanted to get feedback from whoever attended that session. You're able to type in your feedback request into here in terms of what went well with the presentation I delivered, what could have gone better, anything like that. You've also got the option of giving you a rating out of 5 stars. You can switch this off by selecting no if you don't want to. You then press send. Again, it sends them an email. They complete that feedback on you, send it back to you, and as with the recognition, it appears at the bottom if you expand this section here. Obviously, Actus is only for non-medical staff within the trust. So let's say, for example, you received a thank you card from a patient that you were looking after, and you wanted to put it on Actus just so it's all in one place, it's with all the other recognition, the inquiries that you've received. You're able to do that. If you select the My Documents section here, which is this little briefcase in the top right hand corner, that will bring up the My Documents section. If you select Upload, you are then able to browse for that thank you card. Again, you would have to scan it in via the trust computers, open that file up, select the document category. There's various ones on here. Let's say, for example, it is a patient thank you card. You would select feedback, type in the document comments, the patient feedback, select upload, and the document will appear here. And you can add any ad hoc documents that you would like to, just so they are all on Actus, all in one place. You're not rummaging around to try and find it when it comes to having your end of year appraisal. Right, going back to the home page, as I said, on the dashboard, this will show you where all your appraisals are, your objectives, but this is essentially the live part of the system. So once an appraisal has been signed off as completed, it will disappear from the dashboard and it will go to the archive part of the system. So to find an appraisal that was signed off last year, what you would do is you would select appraisals, and then in the grey banner at the top here, you would select appraisal again, select published, and any signed off published appraisals will appear here. You can click into them, have a look at what you wrote, what you discussed in your end of year review. Obviously you are unable to amend this information as it has been already signed off and completed, but it's just there for your reference. The same applies to objectives. If we select objective, select objectives again, select completed, you will find all of the completed objectives under this page here. The last thing that I will show you in this demonstration is the resources page on Actus. So if you select the little question mark in the top right hand corner, this is the help icon, and if we select resources on here, what this will show is there are various kind of useful information, useful documents within the system. So let's say, for example, we were a little bit stuck, and you're able to open up the Actus Employee User Guide. And this is a PDF document. If you open up the PDF document, it opens it up, and the whole contents page is clickable. So once it loads, if we go down to our contents page, and let's say, for example, we wanted more information on how to set up a one-to-one meeting, if you click that, it then brings you to that part in the document, and you're able to have a look at that from there. There are also other useful informations. You've got the bits on the care values and behaviours, non-medical appraisal steps, guide steps to success with care, the diamond model, how to change your manager, and the appraisal scoring guide on there also. So yeah, that is pretty much Actus in a nutshell. As you can see here, my name is Chris Ruz, and my contact details are christopher.ruz@nhs.net. So if you have any problems, any issues, any queries, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. And yeah, let's make this year a success for our appraisals and shout about all the fantastic things that we have achieved over the last 12 months. To log out, if you simply select this little arrow, you will log out, and it will say, "Thank you, you have successfully logged out of Actus." Many thanks for watching this video.